Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming back to the BNS channel. Today, what I want to do is go over a radio show that I just did recently. I do blog talk radio. I don't have a consistent show. I did, and I had to change it. So every now and then, I will do a show. And this particular one I did was on positivity. You all know, if you've been watching my videos, I am huge on being positive and the fact that you have the choice to be positive. So what I would like to do is go through the show, basically, but do it on video so that you can see me while I'm doing this. So because it's a radio show, I do a lot of reading. So if I'm not looking directly at the camera, I do apologize. But know that I'm here with you and that the reason I'm doing this video is for you. The show and the concept was created from a book called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, and it's by Brian Tracy. If you don't know who he is, go look him up. Think Positive Power by Pete is also someone that I've followed. He does have his own website. A lot of this material is from that. So I'm going to basically continue. So your brain is an incredible machine with immense power, which has yet to be accurately measured. Now, what we do know is that way more powerful than a computer is your brain. And for that reason alone, it should never be underestimated. So just stop for a minute and imagine what you might be able to achieve if you could harness the power of your mind, right? Now, Dana Wilde, who's another absolute wonderful mentor of mine, she's the creator of the Mind Aware series. She also does Train Your Brain. And she points out that creating your vision in your mind is going to help you stay focused on the true passion and desire of what you want. Now, everything we experience will trigger different emotions at different times in our lives. Whilst there are many different emotions, they basically fall into two categories, positive and negative. So there are always going to be some circumstances that do not work in our favor and which can generate negative emotions and feelings. This is only natural, and it's the way of the world. Now, most of us are readily aware of things that make us happy, right? But I can pretty much tell you that we do not target or zone in on the things that make us negative. So it's very important to harness that and to know what emotions or what things trigger those negative emotions. There are various kinds of negative emotions like anxiety, anger, panic, fear, and that are mostly definitely harmful to our emotion and physical well-being, especially if allowed to flourish and fester. It's those negative emotions that can drastically affect and hamper your decision-making skills. So not only is this going to affect you in your life, it's going to affect you in your business. So your first step is to identify and actually make a list of what situations or which people cause you to suffer negative emotions. Another way to do this is to make a list of negative emotions that you suffer and try to identify what triggers these feelings. So I'm going to warn you, because when you're doing this exercise, you can easily stray into a very negative mindset. Just tell yourself it's just temporary. It's an exercise to make you feel better. Okay? Now, take each of the items on your list and objectively analyze it to identify exactly why you suffer a negative reaction to it. Okay? So for example, if you know someone who is consistently complaining about all the negative aspects of their life, it's likely that they will leave you in that negative state as well in your own life. So a good situation for this, a solution for this situation is to try and avoid that person until you're better equipped with your own positivity. Doesn't mean that you have to be, no longer friends with that person, but maybe avoid them while you're trying to learn how to be more positive, and that way you can kind of bounce that negativity off of you. Maybe there's a situation that you have to fear, which leaves you feeling uncomfortable. Perhaps you have weekly team meetings where you have to make a small presentation and you feel uncomfortable doing this. Instead of focusing on how uncomfortable you are, feel, and internally that you feel, okay? Focus on the fact that making this presentation gives you a chance to demonstrate your positive contribution. So, in other words, guys, anytime you're feeling negative and you're concentrating on how that is making you feel, whether it's anxiety, fear, anger, when you get to that emotion, stop for a second and determine what it is that's making you feel that way, because that in itself is what's causing the negativity, and you have the choice to change it, okay? So when you get in the habit of finding the positives in any given situation, you're going to reduce and eventually eliminate all of your negative thoughts about that situation and start to feel more positive thoughts about it. Once you've made your list, and I'm being serious, guys, make that list of negative thoughts, those feelings, and find out what's triggering them. You're going to unnecessarily see that, well, not unnecessarily, you're going to see that you're unnecessarily enduring some of these things for no reason. So it's going to be very easy to eliminate some of those things altogether from your life. So by thinking clearly about this, the last thing you want to do is avoid a situation that has to be faced. Doing this can create an even greater negative emotion. For example, if a person stops going to the dentist and develops a fear of dentists, well, a much better way to embrace the positive aspect of visiting the dentist, which is improving your oral health, is, if necessary, talk to your dentist, because you'll be going to be surprised that they can actually help you. Okay, so find ways to be more positive, and by going through this process, you're going to eliminate a surprising amount of negativity from your mind, allowing your positivity to become more dominant instead. Another form of negativity, which many of us suffer from at times, which is kind of the most negative of all, is envy. So envy is a very negative emotion. Focusing on what others have that you don't is going to fill your mind with negative thoughts every time. This does not mean that you should stop wishing for better things in life, but that you should that the desire should be tempered with an appreciation of what you already have. Happiness and satisfaction are tremendously important if you want to really enjoy life in positive mindset. A person who is inconsistent or a constant habit of complaining or wanting what everyone else has got may remain dissatisfied and thus maintain a negative mindset, even if all good things do come his way, because he's trained his brain to be negative. Hence, you should learn to appreciate and express gratitude for all the things that you have, and stop looking enviously at what other people have and craving for more, as this attitude will ultimately lead to a very unsatisfied life. In short, satisfaction is an important element in your quest for a happy life, and it's essential that you achieve it. I'm not just referring to material possessions, my coffee, but also to people in your life. There are many people who can bring us great peace and joy, so you should never take such people for granted. Appreciate everyone for what they bring to your life, as they have the ability to fill your heart with happiness and make your life beautiful. But we all have a different way of achieving happiness, right? And satisfaction through different things. So some people are going to feel happy and satisfied with the material things in life, which determined by the amount of money that they have. Some people are going to feel happy and satisfied by enjoying the simpler things in life. Simple things like reading an interesting book or listening to music, those can all be very everlasting moments of happiness and satisfaction for that person. Now, happiness is just a state of mind. You feel comfortable and at peace with yourself and the world. The world seems to be a peaceful place when you're happy. Some people do not realize that simple things can bring great happiness and satisfaction to life. Your aim should be to feel satisfied with whatever you have achieved and to learn appreciation for both the finer things and the simple things in life. Your life will be greatly enriched when you know the things that make you happy and satisfied. Those things, okay, are going to be what are reflected in the opposite of the list that you've created. So when you create a list of the fears that you have, of things that give you anxiety, of things that make you angry, once you find out what those triggers are and you start to avoid them, it gives place, like I mentioned earlier, it gives room for that positivity to start entering. Now, one of the things that is very true, and I'm going to give you an example. In a bad relationship, if your partner is constantly putting you down, telling you that you can't do things, explaining to you that you are worthless or that you're incapable of certain things, the longer you hear that, the more apt you are to believe it. Now that is a true example of how your mind can be conditioned to your thoughts. The more you hear, the more you think about it, the more you believe it, and then it's conditioned. So there is a way to do that with the positive aspect too. So the more you're encouraged, the more you have things that are told to you that in a loving way, in a caring way, you can do this, you have all of the ability to do this, absolutely you're a great person. The more you hear it, the more you think it, the more you believe it, and then it's conditioned. Not only can an outside force produce that result for you, but you can as well. So as soon as you start to feel fear or anxiety or anger, stop for a moment. Find out what that trigger is and reverse it. And tell yourself, no, I can do this. Even if you strongly believe that you can't, the more you tell yourself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, you will get to the point of thinking it more, right? Because you're going to think it more, and you will start to believe, and then you'll condition. So I'm telling you guys that positivity works. When you set your mind to believing that positive things can come from positive thinking, then they will. So if you think you can, you can. But if you think you can't, you can't. And that's my message for today, because I strongly believe that positivity can change things in anybody's life. If you change the way you think and you change your mindset, then that's the outcome that you will get. The biggest kickback that I get from people is, but I don't believe it. It's possible, right? If it's possible, then you have the ability to believe it. You may not at this particular second, but the more you tell yourself it is, and the more you think about it being, and the more you visualize it, the thinking is the visualizing, you will begin to believe it. And then eventually it will be part of your life. So, with all of that, as my favorite saying goes, positive thinking brings positive results. I wish you all a wonderful day. I challenge you all to do one positive thing today, whether it's for yourself or somebody else. And I also challenge you to write your list of those negative emotions and the triggers. That will give you a good visualization of what you need to work on. And matter of fact, some of the things that you can eliminate, because you're going to realize that it's for naught. There's no reason that you should be doing it. So have a positive day, a sensational day, and I'll see you next time.